Then today let us discuss about requirements. So this is, yeah. So already we discussed why a brief introduction about the requirements. Why do we
Uh,
need yeah.
can I
Hi.
see?
Sorry.
Yeah, Ramya, this is Vikram here. Today I joined for the first time. So I have one doubt, whatever we are doing automation using this Tosca, we are using the already provided modules by Tricentis. But I want to know, if I'm doing a standalone automation, like if I want to close the browser, then how can we do it from Tosca? I was just trying to not using the module even by Tricentis. So I just want to initiate the browser tools. So how to do it?
Then you need to scan it using different engine. I think we did not go till that step now.
Okay. So
Okay.
there is an option for that. We can do that, right?
Yes.
So later you will show all those things.
Sure.
Okay. Thank
Okay. So today let us discuss about requirement section. Until now, all we see is just a quick intro about all the things. From now, like we will start learning one by one. Okay. And in our classes also, like I will not be showing you directly what are the things that we are doing in the real time environment. Our classes will be going in phases. So first, I will ask you to hardcode to develop the test cases in a very hard-coded way. That means the fixed values you will be giving. Okay, like these are the fixed values. Only for these values is what you will develop. Later we will talk about the reusability, and later we will see how can we pass value data from the test sheets or Excel sheets, whatever it is, and so on. Okay, so initially it will be the only hard-coded test cases that you will be developing in this week. And today let us talk about requirements first of all. So in SDLC lifecycle and all, you might have seen the requirements is the first stage. So what exactly we will do in the requirements and all? It is all about requirements gathering and preparation of requirement traceability matrix. The same things can be done in this requirement section of Tosca. It is also referred as yellow colored section. So before we come here and talk about this, usually if any one of you know, we will have certain testing approaches to be followed. Whenever you are testing, might be your either it could be you are testing manually or you are testing or through automation using any other tool and all. Usually you will have certain testing approach which your entire team follows. It could be model based testing, method based testing approach, risk based testing. So there are different things here. So most of the times companies always prefer model based testing approach. What is this model based means? They will take any model here. For suppose page object model or else the data flow model. It means like however the data in your application goes on, right? Accordingly, they will create the modules, test cases and all. If it is page object model, they will start scanning one page as one module and accordingly they will work on it. So depending on the situation of the application, we choose whatever testing approach we want. The same way we have risk based testing approach. What is this risk based testing approach? Here, for suppose, usually you might have heard this question like you have only 2 days to complete. but you have 4 sections which you have to test, and you have time left for only 2 sections to test. So which 2 sections will you pick it up? 1 second. Ganesh gaరికి పంపావా? Yeah, okay. So for let us talk about risk-based testing first. So in the risk-based testing, usually it will be something like you are having 2 days as your target time, and out of these 2 days, I asked you to test one e-commerce mobile application. Think like I have developed one e-commerce mobile application with features like login, logout, shopping cart, and the payment process together, and wish list. So out of these 4 features, if I ask you pick any 3 features, you have time for only 3 features to test. So which 3 features will you test? I'm repeating
Login
my
and
question once.
Login, Ramya. This is Sarvani Ramya. We
login.
will test login, payment, and logout.
Okay. And how about others? We have 4 things: login, logout, payment, shopping cart together, and wish list. Okay. First, suppose if I ask you to test only 2 features, only 2, not 3.
Login and logout.
Login and payment.
Login and payment, login and logout is what I heard. So if it you are trying to think which is the important feature that we need to test. Am I correct? Should we
Yes.
test login? Should we test payment? Should we test wish list? You are just prioritizing these things actually.
Yes.
But how would Tosca know? In Tosca, we will just create the test cases there. Tosca doesn't know how to prioritize and all. We are the one who should tell Tosca, this is the P1 test case that you have. You all know about P1 test cases, right? When you are doing regression, you will automatically mark your test cases as P1 and all. So P1 is nothing but the high priority test cases. When I say a test case as P1 or a high priority, that means it is an important feature which is present in my application, and I should make sure that it is working without any flaw. Right? So this is, if login itself is not working, we cannot work on the remaining things. So login is a very important feature. At the same time, if the shopping cart and the payment process is not working, it will not generate any revenue for me. So I will be in a huge loss. So I will check the shopping cart and the payment things. So you should prioritize those things. So these things in Tosca, how can we tell is usually the requirement section in Tosca has a concept of weightage. This here usually in Tosca, first we will create the requirements, and in these requirements what we do is these requirements have certain characters. The characters are nothing but the frequency class they have. Okay, and along with this frequency class, they also have damage class. What is this frequency class and damage class? Frequency class is nothing but how many times this particular requirement is coming up again and again. For suppose if you see the login, how many times does it come up? Every time if you want to test something, you have to test the login function. Like you will go through the login functionality. So requirement is coming up again and again. The other one is the damage class. Damage class is nothing but how much damage we are going to face if this requirement is not functioning properly, or if this particular requirement is having some defects in it. So how much damage is it going to occur to us, like we are going to face because of this requirement failure? So these two parameters are what we give, and based upon these two parameters, they will calculate the priority, which they call as weight. So accordingly, they will decide whether that particular requirement is a P1 requirement or not. I am repeating the whole thing once again. Just listen to me. Usually, whenever we are testing, we have different testing approaches to be followed. Usually, your entire team, your test planning team, or whoever plans your testing and all, they decide whatever the testing approach that we need to follow. There are different testing approaches are like model based testing approach, method based testing approach, risk based testing approach, and all. When I say model based testing approach, I can give you an example like a data flow model based one. So here what we do is based upon our data flow in the application that you are testing, we will create our test cases and all according to that. The other one is the page object model based testing approach is also there. In this page object model based testing approach, you will start creating modules and all based upon the pages in the application. One entire page will be calculated as one module. So in that way, we will work on it. The other than these two, the other way is risk based testing approach. What is this risk based testing approach? Here you will have certain time, like you have a period of 2 days. Out of these 2 days, you have to test 4 functionalities. So which 2 functionalities will you pick up and test? So you have 400 test cases. How many test cases can you execute within this time frame? So this is what you can just give in this risk based testing approach. So Tricentis Tosca is usually having it is having more market, especially this requirement section is used by most of the companies who follow this risk-based testing approach. This requirement section is very helpful to the people who follow risk-based testing approach. What they do here is they all after creating the requirements, they have a concept of two concepts like frequency class and damage class. So based upon the values that we give in this frequency class and damage class, Tosca automatically calculates whether that particular test case is a high priority test case. High priority test case is nothing but a P1 test case or not. If it is a P1 test case, yes, obviously we need to test it first, or else we can test it in the next time. That is how we decide it. And this frequency class is nothing but how many times this requirement is coming up again and again. Damage class is nothing but how much damage it is going to cause us if this requirement is not working properly. Now let's see from the Tosca side. I'm opening my Tosca commander. This is the requirement section. If you don't have it open, You just go to your project node, click on this project and click on this project here. It will open this nodes tree structure, and you can right click on this here, and here you can see a plus icon, which is nothing but open in new window and just dock it. This is one approach. The other approach is wherever be you are, go to this section. Here you can clearly see requirements. Click on it. That's all. So this is my requirement section, how it looks like. It is totally yellow in color. Now let us start creating a folder. So right click and create a folder here. So now let me take Honda as my project name. Okay. And in Honda again, see, right click and this is the folder option. The shortcuts in Tosca are very friendly. You can remember. If you want to create a new folder, N and F, right? So Control N, Control F is the shortcut for that. I'll show. Control N. See here in this is the status area. You can see here. Control N was pressed, waiting for the second key. Now Control F. See, it created a new folder inside it. We have cars in Honda, and I also have bikes. So let's go for cars. In this again, I have five seaters. I also have seven seater. Let's go for five seater. And now, for suppose, think like you are working in some car manufacturing company and all. Okay, so now you have to create the requirements for that car manufacturing and all. So we are manufacturing a five-seater car. So usually, what all things do you have as your requirements? The color of the car, headlights how they need to be, steering controls how they need to be, or else the tire of the car, the body type, all these music system, AC, all these are the different requirements. So what I am doing is I will categorize these requirements into two sets basically. Internal, external. The external requirements of a car, internal requirements of a car. In the same way, usually when we are talking about our real-time environment, web applications or any sort of applications, you might have seen in the Agile, if you are falling under Agile model and if you are using Jira or something, there is a concept of epics. Usually what they do is they take one entire functionality as an epic, and this epic is again split into different user stories. The same concept here, they will group all the requirements into a requirement set. So your requirement set is nothing but epic over there. And in this requirement set, again they will separate different requirements. These are nothing but our user stories, we can say. So how do we create a requirement set? Basically is, this is the one. You can see here, right? In the requirements menu, this create object is the requirement set that we are going to create. Or else you can right click and in the mini toolbar also, you can clearly see requirement set. The shortcut is Control N, Control R. So click on this. This is the requirement set icon. Now I'm just naming it as internal. The same way I'll create one more requirement set which is external. Now if you see, now I have another icon here that is nothing but creation of requirement it is. Okay, this is the requirement set and this is the requirement. So coming to my external requirements, what are the things that I have? I have headlights, I have tires. I have body type. I have color. So all these are the body structure. I will give this. Oh. So all these are the external requirements of a car. I just gave you 4 examples. Okay. The same way in the internal also, let's create some like steering, seat quality. What else do we have? AC, music system, something like this. I just give some random things, okay? And now, or else, let's say it as engine. That is important, right? Yeah. So these are some of the requirement sets as well as requirements that are present. Okay. And now let's see one by one. First, I am talking about the external requirements. So if I click on this external, see this is the detailed view. So whenever you have columns in this way, you cannot understand. There are multiple columns. So just don't worry. These we call it as columns. Name is one column, description is one column. All these are one columns. So right click on them and you can see column chooser, best fit all columns. Click on the last one. See, now you can see all columns in detail. It just adjusted the spaces and all. Okay. So now if you see them, you can see, right? Frequency class and damage class are given over here. Now, first suppose, let us talk one by one. So, headlights. What is the frequency for the headlights? This frequency class and damage class are having certain value range also. I will tell you. So, for this frequency class and damage class, you can give the values as 0 to 10. 0 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. So, what is the value that you want to give here? How many times do we use headlights? What is the frequency of it? I can say it as 5 or something like that, right? Not every time during daytime we will not use the headlights. So 5 is what I give. Coming to the tires, what should be the frequency? How many times are we going to use it? Every time. So I will give it as 10. Coming to the body structure, how frequently are you going to see the body structure? Whenever we see the car, we look at it, but it doesn't mean that you should have this fixed body structure or something like that. So let us give it as 8. And how about the color? Color is also very important. So I'll give it as 9. So these are some of the frequency classes that I gave. The same way, coming to the damage class. What if your headlights are damaged? Can you ride your car? Yes, we can, but not during the night time. So I'll give it as 5 again. How about your tires? If your tires are damaged, can you ride your car? No, we cannot. So I'll give it as 0. And how about the body structure? If something crushes your particular car body structure and all, can you ride it? No, we cannot, right? So I'll give it as 1. How about color? If color is damaged, still we can ride it. There is nothing much impact. So I will give it as 9. So see, whenever I am changing this frequency class, damage class, values and all, this weight column here is getting updated if you observe. Depending on these two values, this value is getting updated. So there is some formula in order to calculate this weight. What is that formula that we have is, usually we have four parameters. For the requirements, we saw that we are having frequency class and damage class. In the same way, for the requirement set, that is nothing but the epic that you have created, it has frequency base class and damage base class values. Okay, so based upon these four values that you have, this weight is calculated, and the value range for frequency base class and damage base class is 2 to 10. So how is it calculated based on these four parameters is, frequency base class to the power of frequency class into damage base class to the power of damage class. I'll show you an example. Okay. So now let us see what are these frequency base class and damage base class values. You can see them by clicking on the requirement set, and you should open the properties here. See, here you have it. By default they are 2 and 2. Let us calculate any one value here. So this is having 2 and this is having 2. So first, frequency base value 2 to the power of 5 into 2 to the power of 5. So what is the value of 2 to the power of 5? Let's see that. 2 to the power of 3 is 8. 8 into 2 is 64. 64, yeah, 64 into 6. Is it the same way? I'm poor again.
One 28.
Yeah, 1028 in total. It is nothing but 2 to the power of 10, right? 2 to the power of 10 is 1024. Am I correct?
Yes.
So this is how we usually calculate.
Ramya,
Yes.
hello. Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to confirm one more time. Means you have given this frequency class and damage class value, but the evaluation on the basis of that you have done means every time we need to do it within the range of 1 to 10 only, or means how exactly we need to define this value? I didn't understand this part.
Yeah, I will tell you that again. Usually these values are given by your business analyst. Whenever you are using the requirement section in Tosca, that frequency class, damage class, all these values are given by your business analyst. Because
But if they don't give us, then from our end, how do we define this? Means the evaluation criteria, how exactly it needs to be considered?
the evaluation criteria is the same. Like these values can be 0 to 10, and this is from the, these base values will be 2 to 10. That is the value range that is fixed over there. And if you are trying to give something beyond that, for suppose I'm giving some 30 here. See, the value you entered is out of range. I'll get an error here. And the same way, if you are going to change some value in the base class also, the same way it will take the previous. Okay, I will show you here. For suppose I'm giving 20 here. See, by default it took the highest value, that is 10. That's all. So this is, it will not go out of range at all. The next thing, how do you know which value you should give? If you want to give a value to these requirements, first you should have a clear picture about your epic. So how many times this particular requirement is coming up again and again in future and all. So accordingly, based upon that, you should give these values. Am I clear? No? Yes?
Yes, but here for tire, you are saying 10. So what was the consideration? So how did you consider 10 for this?
Because every time if you want to ride a car, obviously you will make use of tires. If tires are of low quality or if there is any bug in it, So then obviously your car won't run, right? That means
Okay.
the frequency that we are using these types for is every time, same as the login functionality, you can see.
Okay. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Or else let's do one thing. Let us create one more requirement set here for our e-commerce application. Okay. And now let's see giving values here for these requirements. So let's create requirements like login, the same as we discussed earlier. That is more relevant. Logout, payment, and wish list. So for this now, can anybody here tell me what are the frequency class and damage class values that we can give? What is the frequency class for the login here?
10.
10.
10, obviously, right? And how about logout?
10.
10.
Will you use it every time?
No.
No, it will be 5.
Sometimes we use it, sometimes we may not, right?
Yes, sir.
If you compare login and logout, which one will you use more?
Login.
Login only. Every time we use it, other than the registration of a new user. So that is the reason I gave it as 10, and here I am giving it as 8. We use it, but sometimes there is a chance. And now, payment process, if it is an e-commerce website. In order to make an order, every time you have to go for the payment. But the same time, like if it is something going to the wish list or something which is like adding to cart and leaving there itself, for those things we may not go to the till the payment. So I can give it as 9. For the wish list, hardly we use it. So I'll give it as 5. Only one functionality, right? Nothing much. So if your order needs to come from wish list or something, then you will give this. The same way, what is the damage you are going to face if your login is not working? Can you test anything?
No.
No. It is going to create a huge impact. So I'll give it as 10. And how about logout is not working properly? What is the damage that you are going to face? Hello?
It's very less impact.
Very less. We can go for 2.
Very less impact. Okay, let's give it as 3. And how about payment process is not working?
Yeah, it will impact completely. 10.
10. And how about your wish list functionality is not working?
3.
It's not impact.
Not 3 also, right? Only
No.
one functionality is not working. So either 1 or 2 is fine. I'll give it as 1. See, whatever value you change, accordingly this weight is calculated. You can give 0 also here. Nothing will happen. See, for 0 only the value is calculated. Now, I will show you how we are going to change these base values. What will happen sometimes your particular product owner or your business analyst and all, they will be more focused upon the damage rather than the requirements. So what they say is like, I don't want to concentrate more on the frequency of the requirements that is coming up. I want to concentrate more on the damage things, like how much damage it is going to incur us and all. So then what we usually do is we change this base value of the damage to a higher value rather than the frequency, and the frequency we will set it as some 3 or something. Okay, so depending upon these base values, again if you see there is a huge change in the numbers here. For suppose, okay, we all know now how to give. I'm just changing these numbers. Okay, I'll give it as 1 and this one as 1 again, and this one I'm just giving it as 5 and this is 10, and here I'm giving it as 10 and here I'm giving it as 5. I'm just playing with numbers. Okay, these two being the highest numbers, these two being the least numbers. This is least followed by highest, highest followed by the least. So four different sorts of numbers. And now I will take initial value, that is 2 and 2 here. And now see what are the weights that are calculated. Both highest have this much of weight, both least have 4. And if you are having different combinations also, you have the same weight. But now I came up in your project saying I want to concentrate more on the damage rather than the frequency of the requirements. So now what? You changed your damage base value to 6 or 5. Okay. And frequency you just let it be same way. And see now, earlier payment and wish list are having same weightage. But now if you notice the weightage of these have changed. This is because we are we are more intended towards damage actually. So the one which is having high damage is the one which we want to focus more. That is what is said by our product owner or the business analyst. So that is the reason, see, the test cases which are having high damage are the ones which we are concentrating more rather than the test cases which are having high frequency. So these are different things that are present here. Okay, and usually these 4 values are given by your business analyst only. And even nowadays, like hardly I can see 1 or 2 companies who work on this requirement section. Not every company works on this section because people still need to understand more about requirements. They don't there are no much people who know the complete understanding of requirements. Okay, now let's see. Now you understood how do we create requirements, how we give these values and calculate the weights. Is it clear till here, everybody? Any questions, any doubts?
Yes, okay, Ramya.
Ramya, can you
Yes.
please calculation of weight is formula once again?
Yeah, today I will give you one notepad. In that notepad, you will have all this value range, definitions and all present. Okay, I'll give you, I kept it somewhere. I'll upload it in your drive today.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you this notepad today. Here you have it, functional requirements, non-functional requirements, prioritization, and this is the weight formula. And here I gave what are the definitions for them and the value ranges also. Okay. Yeah. So coming back to our Tosca. So now you understood until this concept. So the next important thing that we need to know from the requirement section, as we discussed earlier part, is how do we get the requirement traceability matrix. So that is one important thing, right? If you ever worked on requirement traceability matrix, or if you know what do they mean by requirement traceability matrix, is this is the place where you say this is my requirement, these are the number of test cases that I am going to develop against this particular requirement, and out of these test cases these many are planned, these many are actually we are still developing, and these many are completed, and again the execution status of them, and these many got these, like what are the defects that we got. So all these numbers, like it's like an end-to-end report. Okay, the requirements, what are the test cases, what are the status that we have for the execution, and if there are any defects, so what are the details of the defects. All these details are present in the requirement traceability matrix. So that can also be done from the requirement section. So how can we do it is basically, if you click on the requirements and if you look at their properties here, see, you have an option that is required test cases. So here you will pass how many test cases are required. So once you pass this parameter, then after creation of test cases and all over here, we usually map these things together. And in the execution section where you have the execution status of your test cases, you will map those things here, and if there are any issues you will map them over here, and then accordingly you will pull a report. So again this topic will be covered at the end of the course. Okay, once we complete the execution, please remember we have to map all our things back to our requirements and pull out the report where we can see all the details. I'll cover the topic at the end of the course. Okay, and if you want to give how many test cases and all that you need, you can just mention it over here. For suppose I'm mentioning I need 3 test cases for this requirement. I'm showing you a sample now. Okay, see immediately 3 test case icons, these are the test case icons, have come up here and they are saying no test case is linked. Now, for suppose you have 3 test cases here. Okay, I am creating some dummy test cases just to show you. And these test cases here have work state. This is my first one and it is in planned state. Second one, it is in work state. And third one, it is in these 3 are the values, completed state. So now what I do is, I will copy these 3 test cases. I'll just selected them, drag these 3 and drop it on to this particular requirement. One second. And see here, now what happens is every time whenever there is a change that you are going to do in this section, usually in order to calculate these all values over here, you have to calculate them. For that, you have a button that is update the outdated values. So click on this button, or else you can see a exclamatory mark also here. See, if you mouse over on it, see, values are outdated. Press F6 to recalculate. The shortcut is F6, or else you can click on this button and just say OK. It will recalculate the values. Now if you see these values are populated. So how did they populate these values specifically is, for suppose if you take this requirement, there are 3 test cases and each one has a contribution percentage of 27.24. How do you know what is the contribution percentage? Again, these are something complex. Just I am trying to help you out. If this requirement set is having 100% of the contribution in it, okay, then we have 4 requirements in it, which means each requirement is contributing like 25% into this particular requirement set. Out of these, like for suppose if you take your requirement set only, and out of the contribution that it has, okay, let me do one thing. Let me delete this one and I will just change the properties for these also. Only then you will get the correct values, which we can understand. Okay. I'll say update. Okay. And now let's see. Now if you observe, there are total 3 requirements present in this requirement set, and out of these 3 requirements, every requirement has 3 test cases that are required. And now if you see, each one has a contribution percent, how much it is contributing towards the particular requirement set. Okay, and now as of now there are no test cases linked here. That is the reason the contribution percentage is very low for these particular requirements, and based upon their weightage also this contribution varies. Here this login requirement is having high weightage, means it is contributing more. Okay, these test cases needs to contribute more percent towards the testing approach. The same way, if you see this one, this is having the least weight. That is the reason, see what is the contribution percent you got? Only 5.8% in total. And this one is having the medium level. So that is the reason they got 18.14%. So depending on your weight, this contribution percent varies. And based upon this contribution percent, now again these particular test cases are having each like they are split into the number of test cases that you have. And once you split these values based upon their progress, for suppose if you take here, you said one test case is already completed. So 27.29% is already completed. The other test case, you mentioned that it is partially completed. In work you mentioned. So that means it is partially, only half of it is completed and remaining half is yet to be completed. That is the reason they took only half part from here and the remaining they did not consider it. And this test case is actually still in planned state. That means 0% is completed. So 27.29 and some part of the other test case, and same way 27.29 and some part of the other test case is there. So that ratio they mentioned as 57% is completed and 43% is still pending. And the same way this execution also, once you update your execution status and all, these values populate. So this is how usually they calculate. We can talk about these percentages and how do we map these things and all here, how do we pull the reports and all in the last section of our UI classes. Okay, is it clear to everybody now? Any questions, any doubts that you have?
Yes, Ramya. Ramya, for the small thing, here requirement section, here only we need to give the count, right? Test cases, how many test cases we
Yes.
write? Okay. Based on the test cases, we need to create in test case section.
Yes.
Then we will map. Okay, Ramya. Thank you.
You can directly drag and drop those test cases also.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. So this is all about requirements for now. Let us discuss again how about the mapping and all these things in the last class as I mentioned. Okay. So tomorrow we will start the actual automation, that is from the module section. Thank you all. Thanks for joining. Have a great day.
Thanks,
Thank
Ramya.